In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a checklist or worksheet using a PLR article that you have. So I've opened up an article called How to Decide What to Outsource First When Money is Tight. So this would be a great article since it has several steps involved for creating a worksheet as kind of a pre-planning worksheet for people that are going to be doing some outsourcing. And it can also be part of a larger worksheet or action plan. So here we don't need the extra text because this is a place for them to fill in what they're going to do. And I'm also going to rename this as, say, pre-outsourcing planning worksheet. And make sure you save this first, which I should have done, under a different name. So let's call it the pre-outsourcing planning worksheet. Okay, so each one has to be an action step. You want to make sure that these are things that people are actually going to do versus think about. That's the whole point of a worksheet. So step one says make a list of all the tasks you hate to do, because these are typically things that are that are actually quite easy to outsource. So we take out the text, and all you really need to do is leave space for people to fill in, and you can use some underlines to actually give lines for people to write on. And in my version of Word, this does an automatic border line, so I have to undo that. So I'm going to copy that down so that there's several lines for people to do and fill in. And then we're going to do the same all the way down, but we're going to reword the steps in here as well so that they're action steps. So for instance, here it says look at where you add value in your business and make a list of tasks where you don't actually add much value. So here what we really want them to do is say, where do you add the least value in your business? And it's really great to give examples so that people have a clearer idea. So for instance, on the make all the lists of tasks you hate to do, we could say, let me make sure we have this in a different font. We could say, e.g. doing website maintenance. That happens to be something that I don't like to do, so that's a good example. And for where do you add the least value, make a list of tasks. You can read the text to get an idea. Here it already has an example. Examples could be formatting documents or loading posts onto your blog. So let's just fill that in as an example. So e.g. formatting documents or uploading blog posts. And again, leave some lines for them to write in. You can just Control-C, copy it from above, and Control-V, copy it down. We're going to do the same for all the rest. Identify one-time activities. That one is also pretty straightforward. So it's one-time activities in your business. And let's put an example. Let's see. They have an example here, setting up a new blog, configuring it with plugins. So we can just say, e.g. setting up a new blog and configuring it with plugins and themes. So that's all set for us. And again, we'll put the lines in. And you can play around with the formatting a bit to make sure everything fits. You can do that afterwards. Put in less or more lines. And we've got step 4, look at the tasks that are easy to outsource first. Look is not really an action step. You want them to do something. So since they've already listed some tasks up above, what we want them to do is go back and actually circle the ones that are potential things to outsource. So let's say circle the tasks that are easiest to outsource first. So we're telling them, go back, circle them. And I think that is pretty obvious. If you want, you could put another example in here. So, e.g., creating e-covers. That's a very, very easy thing to outsource. And finally, as the last step, they need to make some decisions. And again, make some decisions is not very actionable. So let's say, here's the final step before they move on to actually outsourcing. So we want to say which tasks / activities will you outsource first? And if we read through this, it says organize your list of tasks to outsource into immediate, short-term, and longer term. What we do right away versus in a few months or a year. So let's have them organize it as immediate, short-term, and long-term. And again, you can add lines and stuff in there. Maybe a little bit less so that it all fits. And you'll play around with the formatting. You could go through and actually create some boxes. I'll show you how to do that in a second. Let's just make this look nice. All right, let's go through. I'll show you how you can actually make some boxes to make, if you want to make this a checklist. So you can go up to the top and say insert shapes. And you'll get a whole bunch of different shapes. I'm going to choose a rectangle, and then I can just draw that next to the step, and then you can just move that where you want it. And then to copy it down, you want to go have it highlighted like this and go Control C and then Control V, and you're going to do that all the way down the page so that you have a check box next to each one. This isn't really necessary for a worksheet, but if you are making this into a checklist where they're just checking off and making sure they've done each thing, then it's always nice to have these boxes. And that's it. You've got your worksheet / checklist, and you can make this part of a bigger planning worksheet now, where the next step would be taking the ones they've identified and deciding where they're going to look and what criteria they're going to set for picking out someone to outsource, and so on. And you can see how easy this was to do and how fast, and it really adds a lot of value to any type of content that you put together.